We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
With global pals, it's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about...
Every-
Oh,
Good morning, good evening, whatever it is. Did you lose me? There we go. Did I freeze?
you froze. You know, that's the fun of Zoom.
Yeah.
We got you back.
There we go. Hi. Okay, so now you know that I may be in and out because we're traveling south as we're taping this. Don't worry, I'm not driving, but you can see I'm belted in. But let's get right to it. If I disappear a little, I'll come back. You know how it is. We've got two fabulous performers to talk with today. And you know, the beauty is being in the capital region, we've got proctors, national, the national tours come through, national tours tech in there. And we're so happy right now through August 4th. Tina is playing on the stage, and we've got both Tinas here with us. We've got Zurin Villanueva and Ari Grooves, and welcome, ladies.
Hi. Sorry, that's my DJ name. Ari Grooves is my DJ name. My last name is actually Groover. Sorry. I just realized.
Because I saw Grooves come up and I went, okay, maybe I wrote it down wrong.
No, not at all. I didn't change it. That was my fault.
So now we know a lot about you right away. So let me just jump in. I saw the show on Broadway.
Okay.
So, and Ellen saw the show last night.
I saw it last night, so I saw Ari in it, and I'm sure the same with Zurin. I don't know how either of you are here right now or talking or have the energy to talk to us right now, because what a mammoth role. I mean, it's unparalleled. I can't think of another show anywhere that has such a demand for the lead role.
Yeah, it is a caveat of roles, I have to say. It's probably one of the hardest roles on Broadway. People had to, honestly speaking.
It is the hardest role in musical theater canon. Yes, full stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's first of all, 3 hours long.
Exciting.
And you guys like never leave the stage.
Never.
Nope. Not once.
How do you prepare?
Creative with holding your pee after a while. There's in Tina, none of that. No.
Yes, I think Benita's asking, how do you guys prepare for that evening or matinee? Or yeah.
Zurin, you want to take this one?
Yeah. It does get easier the longer you do it. And when we first started, I was doing lots and lots of preparation. I would start preparing around just because you have to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally. You have to prepare yourself vocally, physically. So like I would start around like 4:00, I don't know. I'm very calm. I calm myself down, and then I make sure I eat a lot of food, but not too close to the show. Then you start warming up, then you start moving your body. I pay a lot of attention to the core because we're wearing heels and dancing in heels. You know, your lower back can be affected first. So I do a lot of core work, and then we just do a little dance party during half hour and then get out there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what Zurin said. I mean, it's you know, physically, mentally, and emotionally, it is a feat of a show. So you really have to prepare in all three things, just because the nature of the show and this, you know, wonderful life that this person has lived. And I mean, she's been in her industry for decades. So we are really trying to expand from 17 to like 44 of what Tina accomplished and her trials, tribulations, triumphs that is throughout this 3-hour show. So it's a lot of information. So we try to make sure that we can be as clear and concise of where we are. But it is one hell of a show. I have to say. I have to say, but it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful show at that.
Yeah.
Now, Zurin, I know, has done choreography. Ari, you already let us know that you're a DJ. Talk to
I'm a
us a little.
choreographer as well.
You are. Okay,
Yeah,
that's where I was headed. Right.
that's
So,
actually first.
I'm sorry, is that your first?
That's actually my first. Yeah, yeah. We're all multifaceted artists up here. You kind of got to be in today's age and time to
Oh
be
yeah.
TikTokers. You know.
Multi-hyphenate, several jobs,
Yeah.
several callings.
Do you all travel with a massage therapist to keep you?
No.
Yes, I have a physical therapist
We have
that
a
travels.
physical therapist.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Um,
so we don't really have a masseuse
right.
to say, but physical therapy is wonderful. We have to with this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Tina had such a distinctive voice, obviously, and that took her so far and made groundbreaking moves in the music industry. So, for both of you coming to the role, did you feel like you kind of naturally had similarities to Tina's voice, or did you have to kind of train your voice to go more in a Tina direction? How did you tackle vocally bringing her alive?
I mean, it's kind of weird because I feel like me and Zurin have something that is naturally Tina-esque, which makes it a little bit easier to create your Tina sound. It's definitely something that we've had to learn along the way, of her isms and her growl and her rasp in her voice, and how she carries it, through her happiness or through her pain. Um, it is not to say that it is the easiest thing to do. It is once you get the hang of it, you understand how to sort of navigate this. And it's never we want to be impersonators in that sense, but we do want to give sort of Tina isms to pay homage to her. But we sort of had the freedom to figure out what our Tina was going to be for this show. So that relieved a lot of stress from us, for one. To not have to be like Tina, and Tina always said herself, she would say, to be me is to be yourself, authentically speaking. So it really came to being us first, and then learning what we have, the similarities that we have to this wonderful woman, just in terms of just womanhood in the entertainment industry. So it it it's something that was fun to figure out and to see everybody's version or interpretation of what Tina meant to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I found myself, I did work with a rock coach early on just to try to find where the growl was in a healthy place, somewhere I could replicate it and not, not feel anything bad. So I started there. But then I found myself like going way Tina and then trying to put myself back in. So it definitely was a dance of, okay, where is the sweet spot where we pay homage and be myself? It was a trial and error.
Yeah,
Love that. For
beautiful.
for 3 hours of singing, are there certain techniques or vocal warm-ups that like really help to just keep your voice safe? I mean, I'm assuming that's why there's two Tinas, right? You can't do this show twice in one day. It'd be
Yeah. Broadway,
impossible.
Broadway learned the hard way. We learned the hard way on Broadway that we can't do um, Tina twice in one day. It's so it leaves a lot of damage to the voice since we're singing what 22, 23 songs, and
Oh, wow.
it's a lot of songs. That's a lot of songs back to back while saying most of the dialogue on stage. So it's great to have a sister to share that with. I mean, Zurin has been carrying almost this tour for the past 2 years, so I feel like we both sort of have the same timing of what we've figured out of how to sing this show. I mean, and whatever techniques work for people, everybody's different. I have vocal nodules. They're very small, but learning how to sing over them has probably been the wonderful part of this show. It's kind of actually helped me to heal through the nose, because we're singing and learning how to push through and properly breathe, and figuring out a healthy growl, as what Zurin was saying. So, definitely warming up doing all of the things that you want to do with your, passaggio, as the vocal people would call it. And really speaking, just learning to speak naturally, learning how to speak properly, because we do talk a lot in the show, kind of helps navigate you into your singing. And therefore, you do your vocal warm-ups that your coaches, your teachers, your speech pathologists. I had a speech pathologist to help me with that, to figure out how to get through it. So it is a journey. It is a journey of figuring out what techniques work for you, and sometimes it's what techniques that work for you that day. Something that you may lost a little bit of resonance, so maybe you have to do something to help gain your resonance back. Maybe you don't have the top of your voice, so maybe you need to do something. Maybe you have too much of a growl and you have a bit of a vocal fry left over, so you got to figure out how to pass through that. So it really depends on how your voice is feeling that day, what fatigue are you going through. So it's really different. It's really different for everybody, but I think it's so cool to hear everybody's warm-ups, to see what they're doing. I still warm-ups from Zurin all the time when she's singing.
Ooh, that's nice.
That's nice. You try that. Yeah, I do it all the time.
Like up on top of the chorus during the show, like da, 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 da. Like you kind of end up singing your lines in a certain way. You're just placing everything to make sure everything is coming from a healthy place.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like your prep for this is quite different, or at least more extensive than you've had for other roles.
Maybe a bit. The longer you do it, the more it gets kind of normal, if you will. I think the preparation and the rehearsal process was way more extensive and way more intense than other roles. But once it's actually in your body, it kind of like resembles everything else. Then it's just like, okay, we got this. Unless there's a problem. And then like you're on stage and you have to make decisions. Make them quick, make them sound, but make the decisions.
So on your nights off, are you at the theater or are you taking a very long nap?
Yeah. Sometimes I like to explore the city we're in. I usually, with our schedule, it ends up you only get like one day where you can really take off. Every time else you end up having to do something, whether it's PT, massage, or just work from home. You just got to do something. So like one day a week, I try to make it my business to actually walk around, look around, meet new people. People are so sweet. Like they pay for my dinners, my drinks. They're like, "Oh, Tina's here." It's so sweet. All over the country. I'm like, never underestimate the kindness of strangers. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And Ari, you were, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
No, please.
She said everything I was gonna say.
Okay, Ari, you were involved with the Broadway show. You understudied Tina and you played
Aline, her sister.
And so what are there differences from doing the Broadway show to doing it on tour? How is it adjusted?
You have probably a little bit more of a set that you're dealing with on Broadway. The differences that I would probably say between this and them cutting the show maybe a little bit down just to make sure that it can fit within traveling. That is probably the biggest differentiation between the two is the travel. You do the show, and the show might be hard, but you can go home and recuperate. With traveling, it's a bit different because you're trying to go to these different places that have you're trying to acclimate to the weather, allergies, if climate. If you're in a high altitude, Denver was a shock for us because being in the 1,000 Mile Club up there in the elevation. Getting to Nevada where it's dry. And then we're traveling on our off days. So like Zurin was saying, we only really get like one day off as a Tina. The other days we're either coming in and trying to get work on, or it's like a 2-show day, or the schedule is just changing. We might have rehearsals, or so it is very interesting to see how traveling plays a part on your body, that only people who have been on tour and traveled like that would understand. And especially playing Tina, it is definitely another addition to the challenges that you may have with this role. But other than that, it is pretty much like the heart of the story and everything is pretty much the same. The characters, the people. The only thing that are different are just the people who are playing them and in their interpretations, which is cool. That I love to see. So I have, you know, a Broadway family and I have a tour family, and it's kind of beautiful to have all of this incorporate into this wonderful show, you know, that's closing here in North America. And I'm happy that at least it is still going on, you know, in different countries around the world. So.
Now, I'd also be remiss if we didn't mention the Tina that's not present today, which is the little Tina, who was phenomenal. It's like, how is that sound coming out of that tiny body? Like, how are her lungs big enough to belt that out? You know, it's amazing. So has she been with the tour for the whole time? Like, what's her story of being the
So
minor in the group?
we had two sets of kids.
Yeah.
We had our first year we had two kids for Arlene and little anime, and then our second year we got new children, you know, because they grow so fast.
Yeah.
They get real big. They're women now, like before your eyes, you know. So it's really crazy. They get too tall to play a little boy. It's like what's gonna happen?
Right.
How
But
long did I miss when I was out because of the signal? How long have you two been with this show now?
I have been with the tour. I started with the tour in September of 22. So I'm original tour cast and I'm finishing up. I took some time off and then finishing up.
Yeah, and then I joined the tour that last year, but did it on Broadway for when did we do it? 2020. So I've been a part of this since 2020, the top of 2020.
Wow.
So it's been a long time coming. we've all have our perspective times with this beautiful show.
Now, I'm always curious with shows that do focus on an artist, you know, what the level of creative license the show takes with their actual life. So are there elements to Tina's life that have been adjusted for the show, or like moments that they kind of combined?
Yeah, there's definitely some elements they have adjusted to the show, especially with dealing with her mother. You know, her and her mother had a very strained relationship. You know, mother and daughter relationship, regardless, but it was quite strained. You know, Tina probably would say that she never really felt like, not necessarily loved. I mean, she knew her mother loved her, but she knew that there was always some discourse between them. Um, and she says it a lot in her book. But I want to say the way we ended the show between Tina and her mother was the way that Tina could probably get closure. I don't think Tina ever really had the closure to know when her mother had passed, because I think Tina was performing at the time, if I'm correct. I could be incorrect. But we wanted to make sure that in this story, she sort of got the things that she never really had the chance to get. So I know that is one of them, and it's so hard because we're, to be honest, we're probably just digging into probably like half of the things that Tina's went through. Her book talks about a lot of things. You know, you get to learn about her first child, and her first love, you know, and how her and Ike sort of became to be. You get to learn little tad bits of things, but I tell people, I encourage people to read Tina's, what is it, The Happiness, I'm blanking out on the book right now. There is her biography, and then there's another one that they sell. Matter of fact, they actually sell it at our stand that you can also read as well. That is just the life of Tina. And then you get to really understand, like, oh, she has some things, you know, her kids, you know, she had a hard time with Greg. Greg had a hard time with, Tina being away a lot. Um, and the fact that, we don't really talk about it, but like her son passed away, suicide, unfortunately, Craig, the oldest one. Like the fact that it was hard for her to be a mother. She always wanted to be the mother that she didn't have, but it was kind of hard because she wanted to make a better life for her kids and for herself, and you kind of see it in the show. You get to see it in the
Yeah.
show.
I didn't encourage her to do that when she wanted to take time off and she wanted to stop being on the road for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, you're
Yeah, I
going
was
on.
like, no.
So it was just like, even when she wanted to, like, let me take a break and be with my babies, it was like,
Yeah.
Wow.
like, thing at all costs. That's what he said.
Yeah.
After this, what do you go to? This is such a tour de force for you as performers.
It's really funny you say that, because that is what I'm thinking. I was like, how do I even go back to what I was doing before? How do I feel like a completely different human, and going about this business the way I have in the past seems impossible. And I think the key is not doing that, is allowing yourself to be different, allowing yourself to make those just different choices. And I think for me, it means doing what I've always wanted to do, which was just act. And I think I'll be focusing more on that in the canon of musical theater or outside, but just doing acting roles.
Hear that, and whatever will come for us. Whatever is meant for us will be meant for us. So it is something I try not to worry about. And I try to look at it as something to be proud of instead of what's next. I know a lot of people like to ask that question, what's next? What's next?
Oh,
it's just all the time. And then sometimes it's just like, actually, I just want to reflect.
Yeah.
Reflect. And then what will come, and hopefully from reflecting and doing this, and other people being able to see us do this, that the things will actually come that we deserve. We worked very hard for this and during this role, and we're happy to be bittersweetly, I should say, closing this. But we've done so much work that we want to feel proud of what we've done, and then whatever comes will come, and it will be exactly what we need. That's what I'm putting. That's my mantra that I'm putting out. So hopefully that will happen. If I put it out in the universe and say it, then at least the universe heard me.
I gotta say, one of my favorite things of last night and being in the audience was just all around me, from behind me, in front of me, to the sides, just all the verbals of like, oh my God, wow, how does she do? That's amazing. That's amazing. Like, it was just the ongoing commentary about like how amazing a performer, you are, and like how incredible the show is. So yeah. Yeah. That's rare to hear in
Get
the
that
audience. It was
energy
fun.
up. Yeah, it's just, you ladies are incredible doing this, bringing Tina to life, bringing her essence and sharing her life force with the audience. And I think that may be the biggest takeaway, is the life force this woman marshaled and stoked to her entire career and life. And that really serves as I suppose, like a star out there for us all, a guiding star, to know that we can survive.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is what I think the audience take with them, from watching.
Yeah. A little bit of trivia. You've been here in the Capital Region before, a while back.
Me?
My notes are correct, sir, and you were here in ragtime at Farrington Stage.
I was. Oh, I loved that show. Loved it. It was the supreme.
And there's another connection, but it wasn't you ladies. And I think Ellen, you got to help me out. I think it's George Franklin. Charles Franklin. There's a family in the Capital Region that's very talented, and Charles played the manager to Tina on Broadway.
Oh, play Roger, Charlie Franklin. Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he's cool.
The way I remember which brother it is C comes before G, so C is the older one.
Charlie Franklin. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
It's funny because him and the person who plays Roger right now, Dylan, they are actually great friends, very good friends. And Charlie was the one that told Dylan to audition for it. So it's a lot of connecting dots there.
Right. Small world. Small world. Here we call it Smallbany, but it's really in theater. It's a small world. Ellen, I don't see the clock, so I would imagine we're getting close.
Yeah, I would say
7 minutes.
in our last 7 minutes, we're gonna do something called the close up. It's just some rapid fire questions for you two, just to get you know you a little bit better. So you guys ready for your close up?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's start with Zurin and then go to Ari. What was the moment in your life where you just knew, like, I have to do theater?
When I was 15 at summer camp, and I was cast in Children of Eden, and I saw how it affected the audience, and I was like, oh, I have to.
Oh, that's a trick question for me. I always knew I wanted to be something with performing when I was 3. My mom was like, you couldn't stop singing. So there was that, but I never thought that I would actually be in musical theater at all. As I got older, I was just like, I don't see enough people that look like me. I don't think it's kind of corny. I don't know. People just singing out of the middle of nowhere. I did not see myself here. I went to performing arts high school, but I thought I was going to go more into visual arts and illustration. That's what I went to college for a little bit. So I did not see myself doing this as a professional, but ended up doing it in Atlanta for a little bit when it was the Alliance Theater and Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company. That was sort of me getting into it, I have to say.
Is there a certain show in your life either that you were in or involved with, or even just saw that made a big impact on your life, and why?
Vela. I wasn't in it, but I saw it.
Yeah.
Vela. It's about, Vela Kuti, which is wonderful the godfather of Afrobeat, which is a genre that came out of Africa it incorporates African roots with jazz and funk. He was a big James Brown fan, so he wanted to bring that from where he learned from school in America and bring it to Nigeria. So it talked about his life, and then just to see the experience, the explosive, it was just such a groundbreaking show, and with a lot of African roots, African dancing, which is something I grew up with. So it was nice to see people that look like me living in their authenticity, I have to say, because it was a raw show about this man who was raw and talked about the injustices that were happening in Nigeria and in Africa with colonialism, and I thought it was amazing. And I was just like, oh my God, I should have been in that show. It was one that really just I was enamored by it.
That's really a hard question. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick Shuffle Along, because there was a difference in the way I thought about the way we're doing this on business sense after Shuffle Along. Shuffle Along was my Broadway debut, directed by George C. Wolfe, with Audra McDonald, Adrian Warren, who's the original Tina, has the Tony, yes. And so that was my first experience on Broadway, and seeing these titans, because they were not just them, Billy Porter, Brandon Victor Diston, everyone was in this show. And seeing these titans work every day and watching how they go about their artistic process, how they negotiate back and forth in terms of creative collaboration, all of these things, I'm seeing like what the Black theater community is capable of. And then seeing, unfortunately, we closed prematurely. We were selling well, but we closed anyway. And then I realized a business sense of the equation that I didn't know before. and knowing that it is extremely important to have a piece of the entire theater operation at some point. Like you have to own it. You have to own it. And and as if you don't own it, then somebody else makes decisions for you. And it's as simple as that. And it really changed the way I looked at the business for the better. And I was very thankful for that.
And a real quick last one. Just curious what your favorite part of doing Tina is. Is there a moment or a song that you look forward to every time?
Oh,
The end, the mega mix, probably. We can sort of relax and let the audience do their things, or we can go full out, depending on how we feel. The energy is just like we have the adrenaline, so we're just going through that last little bit, and it's such a spectacular moment that you see the stage and how it turns into this concert. So it's one of the favorite moments of the show, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
We'll have a continued fabulous run. You're here through August 4th at Proctor's Theater. Don't miss this show. Don't miss these ladies. And don't miss this performance.
Yeah, we're going to let you guys go rest up. Thank you so much for joining us today, Zurin and Ari. For our listeners, this has been wonderful. We'll catch you next time. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
I'm Benita Zahn. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything, everything, everything.